So we're going to be opening off the evening with an Oak match from the theoretical future. Monaters versus Phimagen? How do you say this man's name?
Your guess is as good as mine. I like that there was a question mark at the end of his username when you said it, though. That'll work, yeah. Phimagen? Phimagen's my best guess.
Okay, Phimagen it shall be, at least for this evening, and the second match of the night is going to be a platinum match of Falcon Hit versus Yearend.
Otherwise known as the sons of Yelena and Amy.
Perfect.
And yeah, I'm very excited about this. Oak, as you said, in the future, they played their Week 13 match a little early. Monaters off to a really strong start in Oak, and Phimagen trying to slow them up. Very excited to see what happens.
Monaters is a powerful man to be that low on the ladder. It's man, like everywhere on the ladder is scary.
Yeah, everyone ladder is scary because we've had so many people come back to the game too. Monaters has thousands of games, played in Season 1, took Seasons 2 and 3 off, came back in the middle of Season 4, and now is kind of romping in Season 5 and clearly a little underpromoted. Yeah, but as you said, scary players everywhere, so even a powerhouse like Monaters in Oak can lose a match.
Absolutely, and I suppose, without any further ado, we may as well just hop right in to the picks and bans. I believe Monaters opened off the festivities banning out Library any 5 of 8, and Phimagen responded by banning Ballroom any 4 of 8.
Yeah, I only have one thing to say about that, which is that we have 12 bans on record for Monaters in SCL play, and 11 of them are Library.
Good God.
Yeah, does not like that. Actually seems very comfortable. His picks across other venues are actually quite varied. He seems to have a lot of comfort on a lot of other venues. It's just that one that he doesn't want to play.
Well, speaking of the picks, Monaters is going to open things up with Courtyard any 4 of 7. Phimagen responds with Pub any 3 of 5. We don't usually see that double. That's going to be interesting.
Wow, yeah.
And then Monaters goes with Gallery 4 of 8. And Phimagen, Balcony 2 of 3.
These are the picks of someone who feels like an underdog and wants the swingy venues to throw the other player off their game, for sure.
That is very true. I'm maybe a little bit surprised Tayen didn't make an appearance in place of Pub, but these are sort of the expected picks for someone who feels like they're behind, as you were saying.
Yeah, so you say Tayen. I said 11 out of 12 bans were Library. The other one was Tayen.
Okay, perfect.
There we go.
We are going to be opening things up on Courtyard, any 4 of 7. This is generally considered a very sniper-favored map, but we've, as of late, been seeing some very creative spy play slipping in under the radar for the snipers, so this is always an interesting situation to see what's going on. Phimagen opening things up on the spy side, Monaters on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, Monaters 8-1 here, and Phimagen, I believe, 3-5. But there's a lot going on in Oak. Oak is chaotic. The lower divisions, it's really hard to assess skill level from week to week, and players sometimes are new and get good very, very quickly by practicing a lot between matches.
Oh my God! It's so rare to see a contact that early of the game of that quality. There were 3 lowlights available, I think, and Smallman was one of them, but did not get lowlit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Early BBs are so rare. In fact, the only high-level player I could think who consistently does BBs early is Canadian Bacon.
Phimagen also able to get 34% on the flirt off of that conversation. So Phimagen in a good spot to open this game off. The bug coming around the side of the statue. It was very visible, but it looks like Monaters' eyes were elsewhere.
It was very visible in the sense of being on the screen, but it's a general bug with a lot of bumping, and I gotta say, I only sort of saw it myself. It was hard to catch. I think he got away with that, and oh boy.
And now there's a green swap on board. 2 inspects coming. This is going to end really, really fast. Still 1 minute and 45 seconds left to play.
There's no way he's going to be able to shoot for this. Even if he notices the swap, and he's really watching that ambassador in that guest list, he might not see the swap at all, but if he does, it's just hard to imagine he's going to be able to credit it quickly enough to want to shoot.
See, this is what I'm talking about with the spies coming up really creative here. The swap has come off. Phimagen stepping over into the windows once more. And what a spy game to open out the evening.
The actual swap was never on screen. A low light picked it up, Irish, and then another character came up alongside her and obscured the statue as the rotation was happening. And again, Monaters has no reason to think a swap is coming off that quick. They have no reason to watch the low light. It was just a rush. That's how you play a spy when you feel like you got nothing to lose, and yet it leads to a win.
Not only do you feel like you got nothing to lose in a situation like that, but after having pulled it off, the sniper is going to be a little bit on edge for stuff like that for the rest of the match.
Yes, absolutely. That pays dividends throughout the match when you can rush a mission win like that. And great replay we're seeing. Look at that bug. Oh, that is so tough. General's walking bug is good.
It certainly is. Good enough to get by Monaters in a situation like that is no easy feat. But now Monaters stepping into the spy role himself. Phimagen on the sniper side of things in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, again, 8-1 versus 3-5, and you don't want to read too much into that. As I said, a lot of new players get good very quickly, but if you're Monaters, you're thinking, oh boy, maybe this is going to be a dogfight.
Opening up in conversation with the seduction target at a little bit more distance than we would like. White test flirt only nets us 24%.
And not a great start, and a tough path into it too, but not the kind of thing you're going to get punished for too often.
And as a quite striking contrast from last game, Monaters with a relatively slow start here.
Yeah, kind of reminiscent of some of the matches we cast last week where we noticed some of those new Challenger players, for example, and Obsidian players had a little more trouble finishing the flirt. And that seems to be one of the big differences between intermediate and beginner spies and expert spies.
This is not a position where we want a timer flirt, but we're going to take it anyways. Green test brings us up to 61, so we're going to have to hit another green on top of that.
Yeah, that's the main argument. If you can stick around and finish with a green, that's a different scenario. But if even a green is going to have to net you another green, then that's a very costly 45 seconds with no other progress done.
It was a really awkward pickup. Luckily, the sniper was on the other side for it. As we step into statues, pick up a highlight and a pair of inspects. Minute and 30 left on the clock. This is a little bit worrying.
Yeah, that's another thing we've seen differently across different leagues is the quality and consistency of the sniper rotation on places like Courtyard.
Doesn't hit the green test. It's 95%. Minute and 15 left to play. Still haven't got the contact. Still need another flirt and one more mission on top of it.
Yeah, now you're in big trouble. Now you got to rush something. You cannot timer flirt here.
There's no way. There's just no time for this. Under a minute now. 3 completions still needed.
It's worth noting, Phimagen has been losing about 4 out of every 5 sniper games so far, and if Monaters know that, they might think, you know what, I feel like I can bank on a civ shot here and take my chances.
Could be. In conversation with the double agent now is going to have to contact if he wants to induce a shot. The contact does happen before the beep beeps begin. The shot comes off! Phimagen on top of things.
Wow, might have been jumpy even, I don't know, but there were a lot of little animation breaks. The question is that what he got caught for, or was it one of the jumpy shots that happened to be right? You can get that sometimes against an aggressive sniper, where those are the ones you don't want to tempt them with, like a split. In that case, it was basically a stop talk and a leave. And yeah, wow, Monaters has been put on notice now. They're going to have to work for this at minimum.
Oh my goodness, that is 2 very strong games coming out of Phimagen. The rush on the spy side and a shot with only 2 mission completions on the other end.
Yeah, that feels bad if you're the spy, for sure.
Absolutely. Monaters, as he steps back into the sniper side of things, is going to need to find a way to get his feet under him and figure out how to take down Phimagen. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And they're going to be watching for that rush now. Like you said, that's the kind of game that when you do it up front at the start of a match can pay dividends the rest of the match.
Absolutely. Phimagen opening up in an innocent conversation. The bug coming out and exiting the conversation. Monaters was on the wrong side of the statue. It was completely invisible. That could be a game win right there.
It could, but Phimagen on the wrong side of that highlight, too. I think Monaters knows that was a possible bug. The timing, it almost is like they were trying to bait the path out, because it seemed like Phimagen was just thinking to themselves, I'm going to hang around this ambassador until they rotate, and the second they rotate, I'm going to bug. But that highlight feels so significant.
We shall see moving forward a swamped statue! Just a white test! There's no need for that kind of play, especially after the last one. Monaters is not going to let that one by. The shot comes off, and Monaters gets on the board.
Yep, Sue's son, Monaters, does not fall for the same script twice, and that's what it was, too. It was, I'm going to bug early, and then I'm going to swap. It worked one time. Let's keep doing it until they beat me. Well, that's a little much. You might have caught Monaters sleeping there a little bit against an underdog, but it's not going to happen twice. 2 hardtails on Courtyard again, and Monaters avoids what would have been disaster, frankly, falling behind 3-0 with another spy game like that.
It would have been indeed. And now he's got a chance to tie things up, although doing it from the spy side is not necessarily where you want to be. At least he's got a chance for it with Phimagen on the sniper side of things in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and Monaters might have to clean up some of those little etiquette moves. I don't know if that's the kind of thing Phimagen's digging them on, or maybe they just have to play a slower game.
Banana bread.
This time Monaters with the early contact. One low light. I think there's one more available. Very strong opening from Monaters, but somehow gets highlight for it.
That could just be for a talk there, and that's something that actually is a pretty decent strategy sometimes when the banana bread is that strong. And it wasn't just strong in terms of lowlights, it was strong in the sense that the 2 conversations with SDAs in them were the 2 fuller conversations too. So that was good in almost every way.
Instead of highlighting for real banana bread, highlighting for white banana bread in that situation. A lot less glowing to take up space, but can be a little bit difficult to keep track of the rest of it in this situation. Fingerprint off of the briefcase goes a few steps and then stops, and Monaters steps in for the second flirt.
This is exactly how you normally want to play if you feel like your opponent isn't a terribly experienced sniper. You want to play a boring, clean, soft-tail game, make them track things like fingerprints and take tough shots. That is the number one way. If I had to beat a relatively inexperienced sniper to save my life, that's the game I would play.
85% on a green test off the second flirt. Under a minute and 30 now. We still have to get a statue visit in.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to timer flirt here either. Monaters certainly seems committed to those timer flirts, but I don't think it fits here.
I guess it depends on what he thinks he can get away with late in the game, but with the timer ticking down to a minute's time, it's gonna be tricky. The flirt has come off. That's 2 mission completions. We've got 1 fingerprint in pocket, and we're probably going to have to step into the conversation, into the statue sooner rather than later, but we're just going for the second fingerprint off of another briefcase here.
You got to do this first. Yeah, that's going to get picked up. The statues, there'll still be statues there when you get back later.
Monaters actually completing the return on this one. Not something we see spies do all that often when they have the opportunity not to. Under 30 seconds now, but it just has to be an inspect. There's no hardtail left to do. It all depends on how worried Phimagen is about this character, and it's worried enough. The shot comes off, and we finish up in Courtyard 3-1, and that was Monaters' pick as well.
Wow, Phimagen was staring at them at the end of that briefcase return. The question is it for fingerprint? Is it for shooting them for the Softail complete? Or are they worried about a bug at the end? Because that path, it's so hard to tell. I don't know which it is, but whatever it was, that is a huge win. And that was a pretty clean game for Monaters, all things considered.
Yeah, it was. That was not bad at all. Interesting note from Monaters in chat as well. This set was actually played in week 2.
All right, so it's from the past.
It was a future game.
It was a future game at some point. The point is we're time traveling.
Yes. It was just more of a future game than we thought.
Yep. The only way you can actually time travel is by going to a place like our next venue, the pub. You'll find you lose time very easily if you're not careful. I'm
I
ready when you
love
guys
it.
are.
Maybe a little bit less so on the 3 of 5 variants. Phimagen is going to open things off on the spy side of things with no swap and no fingerprint. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I meant it more in a drinking sense, but yeah, that works too.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of time wasted on this map, and there's a lot of time lost because of pubs. Yeah, so this is actually a weird artifact of the fact that some of these players were actually in bamboo, which got folded into oak when it collapsed, even though bamboo normally known for its tensile strength. But there was a bit of an upheaval there based on small division size, and there was a consolidation, which leads to some of the scheduling weirdness that you've seen this year.
Opening things up with a flirt with Smallman, 34% to open up the festivities here. Phimagen now stepping away, likely to the bar. It is indeed. I'm going to pick up a drink and a delegate. Let's see what we do with this. Quite often, people will grab a delegate here just for the option of having it, and even if they don't necessarily intend to use it, it's nice to have in your back pocket. Phimagen looks like he may be in that situation as he goes to... Wow, that was bold. But Monaters is on top of it.
It almost felt like Monaters was baiting it because Monaters had kind of an awkward angle, but it's an awkward angle that works if you're taking it deliberately and watching anyway. And that, I don't know if that's what it was or not, but if that wasn't what was happening, then it was a really good catch out of the corner of their eye.
Yeah, absolutely. Or he just knew the ambassador was safe over there and figured he didn't have to watch unless anyone came that way. And then Phimagen went that way, so we started watching.
Yeah, sometimes in pub there's nothing else to watch, and if nothing else, Phimagen has indicated their ability to complete missions. I have to hope, for their sake, at some point, that they transition into slow play a little bit, because it's going to be so easy to assume they're going to finish after these first 3 spy games.
Absolutely. Monaters, certainly it looks like he's got his feet under him. Let's see if he can get things tied up here from the spy side of pub. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Once again, no swap and no fingerprint.
Yeah, the main choice is usually between Purloin and Fingerprint. And it's interesting because Fingerprint, obviously AIs will not normally complete it. Leads to a lot of potential framing options when they do, however, especially since you can delegate to Bar after the Amber's been there, so you have a little control over it. Purloin is more about direct framing, 1 to 2 people, right? It's a riskier thing. Fingerprint broader under the party's control. So they both play into the frame game potentially, but in very different ways.
51% off the first flirt, and the seduction target steps away right afterwards. That could be very helpful.
Yeah, Monaters is still playing catch-up here. Still looking for that spy win to even things back up, and there are few places better than pub.
Contact comes off. 2
that's a good one.
lowlights. That was one of the better contacts you will see on this map.
Especially because Phimagen might have missed Queen as a low light. She was alone in the far conversation, but off screen, and you could deduce that she must have been a low light, even though you couldn't see it. Those are the marginal differences between snipers.
Now 1 of 4.
Oh, I really wonder if missing that Queen low light's going to come back to haunt us now that she's inspecting.
Yes, it easily could. Flirt at the windows, stepping away right after. We're up to 85% after this white test. A bug attempt coming through. It does, in fact, take. There was not much visible there, but there could have been enough.
Nope. Big honking pillar. That's what it was. That was not on screen. It was just the path. And what do we say all the time about camera positioning from snipers? This is one of the things that takes a while to develop. That instinctive camera positioning. Is it about to cost them the game? I think it is.
The inspect! You can tell how badly he wanted to take that shot, but just couldn't convince himself to make it happen. I'm surprised Monaters didn't go back for the last flirt instead of risking the statue visit, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, it worked out in the end. The alternative, so the nature of that path means they either had to go to statues or they had to go to the bar. And if they go to the bar, it's a bit more of a time commitment. And here's the thing. They go to bar, fingerprints off, so that actually kind of works. They don't get in trouble for going to bar there. But then they got to go all the way across, and look what happened. Look at this seduction target. They went into a full conversation after that.
Yeah.
So Monaters could have ended up in a kind of a sticky situation there. It ends up working, but it's mostly just about that bug, and the bug was unseen because the sniper did not have a good angle on it.
Still a minute and a half left on the clock, so lots of time to play with. Monaters didn't need it. Gets it done with a minute and a half left to play and ties up the match. As we head into the second half of Pub, Phimagen on the spy, this time as Smallman. Monaters on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Alarm bells are going off. We have a spy who's been rushing to complete missions, and they've just chosen Smallman. So what does this add up to, Tobo?
Another rush, it looks like, but you
Maybe.
really don't need to on this map. Smallman doesn't even give you that much of an advantage on this map.
Yeah, the Smallman advantage is nullified on Pub probably more than any other venue.
51% on the first flirt, now stepping away for a contact.
It's an okay one.
It's not bad. 2 available
Banana bread.
lowlights.
And 5 reels, though, because that 4-person conversation in the center does not have an SDA.
Very true, very true. Seduction target drops back in to say hi. Do we hit the green? We do not, so it's 85% instead of a mission completion. But with 2 minutes and 40 still left to play, we've got tons and tons of time to get the last one.
Fingerprint is off again, by the way, which always seems significant when it's turned off and then you see the ambassador go to statues here, because that means a mission and a half at one site for any AI that happens to wander into it.
That is very true. And Phimagen doing what's probably the wise thing here and just hanging out, waiting for the timer flirt. Seduction target has been very kind to us, so we're not going to be paired very easily here.
Oh boy, so one of the highlights, which I think is one of the real BBers, Irish, is at statues now too, and Monaters does not seem very interested. That is significant.
Flirt is now done. 1 mission to go. Minute and 45 left to play, and we could just step into a statue and inspect it and call it a day.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous trip. That's a scary pad to hit.
Best to hit it early if you're going to hit it at all. Here he goes. That might be where he's headed right now.
I like that little path. He deliberately made sure he didn't walk right by the ambassador that time. He gave himself a little distance. That path into statues is a little off, too.
The shot comes off, possibly for the path in. I can't think of what else that could be for.
I mean, it could just be someone's finishing who could be finished, and they're suspicious. It doesn't have to be a whole lot more than that.
It could be, but it didn't really look like he was finishing, to be honest.
No,
Most
it
of the
didn't.
time the seduction target was coming to him. He did have a few talks, but
Well, I think it's one of those things where it's Pub 3-5, and unless you're one of the high-level snipers who specializes in this sort of thing, you're probably not even tracking the talks. You're probably not even tracking who's coming to who. You're just saying flirt's done after the first minute and a half, almost always. So it's just going to be about the other stuff, and that might be the case here. He is finishing at the kind of time spies like to finish if they can help it. They don't like finishing at the very end. And in this case, he could be done, and he's small, and he's dead.
either way, another very good shot by Monaters, and after a rough start, Monaters is really picking up the pace here, now stepping into the spy side of things, looking for a definitive lead over our sniper Phimagen in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, this was, I'll remind you, Phimagen's pick, and Monaters is a spy win away from sweeping it.
You're usually so happy when you go 3-1 on your opponent's pick. And that's exactly what happened, but it might not be enough to get out of the first 2 maps even.
This is something I've run into where I myself have sometimes picked swingy maps because I assume at that point in the match I'm going to need them. And sometimes I rush out to a lead and then suddenly I wish I'd picked something a little more boring. That's might be kind of the case here. Phimagen picks the swinging maps, maybe thinking I'm an underdog. Let's try it. Let's roll the dice. Then they go 3-1 on Courtyard, and suddenly it's like, oh no, what have I done? I did not have enough confidence in how I was going to do on Courtyard, and now it's hurting me.
32% on the first flirt and a delegate to the double agent.
This can work really well sometimes because they don't pay attention to it. When you delegate to cast, you deny yourself that 50-50 that you might want normally, but you also increase the likelihood that the sniper is not even going to be looking, then not be confident about when it happened, and get very little information about it.
2 minutes and 15 to
Big
play.
bar rush. Oh, this is helpful. Look at all this, just all this movement, all this chaos, and Phimagen is watching that ambassador. Timer expires.
Timer expired, though. He waited
So
too
close.
long. There were too many people at the bar. Goes for a reverse drive-by bug. Doesn't take. The shot comes off, and we're tied at 4.
That spiraled out of control. That bug, I think, was probably a response to the expiration. It's like, well, now I got to do something else. Let's give this a try.
Yeah,
If that takes, I don't think they do it. And I don't think they were really going to be on that purloin either. I think that wouldn't have been especially narrowed down. They did not seem very interested in it, probably because of the cast thing, and that bar rush helps. They were guarding Ambassador much closer, so that's what flips the game. The hard tell they're guarding, and the one they're not. The purloin doesn't quite happen, which forces Monaters to try the bug, which they are guarding ferociously.
Either way, it's back into Monaters' pick. This has been very backwards. Phimagen 3-1 on Monaters' pick. Monaters 3-1 on Phimagen's. And now we're into 2 games of Gallery. Any 4 of 8. Phimagen on the spy side, Monaters on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And if you're the favorite, this isn't what you wanted. Now it's a short best-of-5 set, and anything can happen in those number of games.
Slight delayed take control. Phimagen waiting until he lands in conversation. Not that many people do that anymore.
Well, time of chaos. Sometimes you want to get where you're going. Sometimes you want to rush a bug. Other times you just want to avoid a giveaway.
Fairly early contact. Not much going on in the front conversation. Assumed real because there were only 2 people out there. This is a lot of lowlights all of a sudden, Track.
Yeah, I see 6 so far. I counted 7 when it first went off as possible. They took a couple of soft ones too, though, so they missed a couple hard lowlights is what that means as well. But they end up with about the same number as they would have gotten if they were more conservative.
Not a great contact. Phimagen now stepping all the way out front. Looking for a flirt.
Yeah, and this has been a theme, the early contacts. This is something Phimagen seems to like.
White test, 34%. I'm not sure how I feel about this game so far for Phimagen. He's got a lot of progress. He's getting things done with relative speed. But, man, I don't know if I like that contact.
I didn't like that path out into that conversation either, but Monaters is spending pretty much this entire time right now zoomed in. Really seem to be watching the guest list in particular.
And it looks like we're in here for the long haul. Gonna see if we can get a timer flirt out of this. Not necessarily a bad idea on this map if you're close.
And the longer you're outside with that drink, the more potentially treacherous it is. Monaters does know that rule, but it's finally gone.
Rotation cooldown expired. White test on the second, 68%. Minute and 40 left to play. Time-ad out front as well. Aborts it before it comes off, though.
That's rough. Monaters, as I mentioned, has been zoomed in pretty much the entire time. They were going to get away with that.
Oh, no! That bug just takes a highlight, but I don't think this is happening now.
That is where the phrase wrong-armed bug is apropos. That was wrong strategically, too. That was not the arm you wanted to bug with. That's not the one you were going to bury in the Ambassador. And that's a quickly from conversation after you're already a suspect. And I think Monaters is probably going to be all over Phimagen now. Whoa!
What?
Cannot make me look any dumber, the timing of that shot. That must have been a much more casual low light than we thought, just to sort of walked by the Ambassador, maybe. Instead, I think it's just going to be a second statue visit, gets C killed.
Oh my god, that arm was all the way out there!
Yep, completely. It was totally visible, but here's the thing. Let's see, Seek is kind of standing there at windows, and let's see, the tray is, I think, going down just as it happens. Yep, just as it happens, the tray is going down. I think he was tunneled on Seek that whole game, though, because that's the only way he's not looking at that, given that he zoomed in. He's either looking, because he's zoomed in, it's either right half or left half of the screen, right? And
Yeah.
Seek is on the left half, sips the drink, then goes to statues. He's done with inspects, and that's enough on the chaos that is gallery.
I think you must be right. That is a rough loss for Monaters. That's the kind of game that could have very easily swung the other way, except for a very specific lineup of AI behavior. And now, Monaters is on the spy side looking for that game back, and his champion of choice is Smallman on gallery in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It's easy to miss stuff on gallery, but I think if you are taking the loss out front by staying zoomed in, the upside is you really need to catch everything that happens on your screen out in the back there. That's the trade-off. If you're going to miss zoomed out, I understand you're trading it for a high-level view of the party, but if you're zoomed in, you got to catch that bug. And now, it's not just about,
Oh no, the purloin is coming off, but Monaters doesn't have cover. It was right out there. We saw the kneel. We saw the drink take.
Now, Phimagen moved out. He zoomed back out. He does not know this is gone. He does not know this is gone, and I'm pretty sure Monaters is going to get away with this if he gulps right here.
And he does indeed. Oh my god.
Now he sees it.
This map, everything that's going wrong for the spies is somehow turning around for them.
There are so many things that are just not quite getting seen. The timing on that zoom is crazy.
The swap comes off on a white test!
It's
behind Mom! It's behind Teal! I don't think it's been noticed yet. Maybe now it is.
He could still be reeling.
Already away.
He could still be reeling from the purloin and not expecting another hardtail, just like Monaters wasn't expecting a second hardtail in that general courtyard game. This might just be compounding the confusion.
Oh my god, what is happening right now, Track? We're in conversation, 34% on the flirt. We've got a couple of inspects. We've got 2 missions done already, both hardtails. If he's not gone by now, I think Monaters might have this.
Yeah, he absolutely might, especially because he can go silent now. An inspect and a seduce. If he can get another seduce here, it's going to be another timer flirt. Stop me if you've heard that. A lot of timer flirts tonight. Monaters is looking like they've got the win in the bag, and it's a good thing because, remember, even though they can get a point either way, even dropping a point to Phimagen at this point would be a bit of a disappointment for Monaters. So they really need to win 3 in a row here to come away with the 2 points they were hoping for and expecting.
This is not how you play Smallman on gallery. Usually you just sit in the back of that conversation and pretend you're invisible because you are. But this has been a purloin out of cover into a swap. We've got inspections happening. This is our second statue visit. 1:10 left to play. All we need now is to finish this flirt, and it's right there.
He's in great shape, though. He is but small. He is fierce. White test, win.
And Monaters gets the game back in spectacular fashion. It's 5-all.
He is a terror, the Smallman.
And now, the last 2 games of the set, it all hinges on balcony.
Oof. If you are Monaters, this is not where you thought this match was going to be, where you needed to win 2 balcony games to get your 2 points.
No, not at all. Phimagen's got to be feeling pretty happy with the situation right now, but he still has to convert at least one of these, starting out on the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And Phimagen's only played balcony twice this year and lost both games. That's exactly what Monaters is hoping repeats here.
Opening with a time at the side window.
Oh my goodness. The boldness of these spies.
Taking no prisoners and not getting caught, Monaters suddenly finds himself in some hot water as there is more time on the clock than balcony starts with.
And here's the question. Did he notice before Kane went to windows and also checked his watch? Is it down to 2?
No, it's down to 1 as Monaters takes the shot. And now He is one game away from getting those 2 points he wanted.
Aggression is potentially self-justifying on most venues in most situations, but I don't think there's any way to make a strong case for time adding here on balcony. I just don't think there is. A standard balcony game is going to force a good sniper into a difficult shot most of the time. It's almost never going to be easy. If you're Phimagen, you're in a great position relative to probably where you thought you were going to be. And I think at that point, you could have forced Monaters into a tough shot. Maybe an AI completes. Maybe you do. I think you're just giving it away a little too much there. It's just one bit of aggression too much.
All right. And now the score is 6-5. Monaters on the spy side looking for his win. Phimagen looking to come away with a point from the sniper side of balcony in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And if you're Phimagen, it's slipping away here potentially. Obviously, you got to be happy with how you played overall, but you'd really love to get a point for all your trouble.
And starting things out with a flirt at windows from a slight distance is a great way to start, and the seduction target follows you into conversation right next to you like this. The contact comes off, so does the bullet, and Monaters makes it happen from a 3-1 deficit.
The twin was one of the people at Windows. They did a watch check too. I don't know if there's a phantom time ad or if they're just expecting. I don't even think it's a 2 flirt possible at that point. So that's just a really jumpy shot. And I mentioned before, Phimagen, the sniper win rate's been a little low. And we saw some of those early shots. I said, I wonder if it's a great shot or an aggressive shot, maybe a little bit of both. I think we're seeing the flip side of that, right? You take an aggressive shot, you're right, it looks brilliant. But you take an aggressive shot like this, it looks inexplicable. And I think, gave away both of those balcony games after putting them in a position to score a point off a very tough opponent.
Well, that was certainly a dramatic way to start off the evening.
It was pretty quick, too. Some of those games were so fast.
Yeah, that's true. It didn't take long.
Yeah. So Monaters sits at the top now of Oak at 9-1. Technically tied with Legorv Janine? I don't know. All these names are so hard to pronounce, but Legorv is 9-0, so has played one fewer match as well. Either way, the two of them in the class of Oak right now. Phimagen falls to 3-5, but 3-6 rather, but obviously a really strong showing that probably signals better things ahead for them.